So, hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. It's another Friday lunchtime. It is episode number 15 of Jonnychipz Weekly. It is Friday the 9th of April 2021. Let's jump straight on in. So yeah, hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me again today on this Friday lunchtime. I don't know about you, but it's been a pretty hectic week again for me this week, coming back after a nice long week off with annual leave. So straight back into the thick of it. Going to keep the format of this episode the same as usual. So a few Azure news and updates bits. Little quick section on the Welsh Azure user group before we jump over into community callouts, and then just have a little look at what I've been up to on the side this week. So without further ado, let's jump straight over to the desktop. Okay, so Azure updates. We've not had too many this week. I think we've had 6 or 7. So as I always say every week, if you want to keep on top of the news, the latest news and information coming out from the Azure product teams, use this Azure Updates website. It's an RSS feed. You get kind of on a daily basis, they will release either things that have gone generally available in GA or obviously public preview features. So this week, if we start off from the top, we've got Azure Auto Manage has now been made available in South India. So Auto Manage is this is quite a cool new feature actually, in terms of being able to automatically create and monitor and deploy, basically orchestrate resources across your Azure subscriptions. So the fact that they're extending that now into South India is pretty cool. Like as Microsoft usually do, the data centers kind of pop up with their feature sets in a pattern. So that's cool. If you want to learn more about that, then click on over onto the link and have a look at the overview of Azure Auto Manage. Public preview, Azure Purview has now gone available in the Central India region. Okay, so had a good talk about Azure Purview on the Welsh user group a couple of months back, actually. So it's that data governance platform, essentially, for being able to overlay that governance process across all your data sets and repositories. So again, that's gone a public preview in the Central India region. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty good feature in terms of WVD. So public preview, start the VM on Connect feature for Windows Virtual Desktop. So essentially, when you're not using WVD images or virtual machines in a particular host pool, you can have them deprovisioned, switched off essentially. And they've introduced this feature now into preview, so that if somebody does try and connect to that VM, it will automatically power on. Now, I'd imagine there'll be a slight delay while that VM is actually powering on for the user to connect to it, but it's cool. It's a step in the right direction in terms of being able to save you costs. Essentially, if you are running multiple VMs, multiple Windows 10 multi-session images, you need to spin these up in as and when users become active hours, active times. You can do that at the moment, but this is quite another little feature in terms of just, if somebody does try and connect to a particular VM, then it will automatically power on if it's in a deprovisioned state. So neat little feature. Okay, so another public preview, Azure Monitor Container Insight support for Azure Arc enabled Kubernetes extension model. Okay, so I know that we've got things like Container Insights in Azure Monitor, so it looks as though they've extended that now, and they're looking at not necessarily Azure hosted Kubernetes clusters. So pretty cool. That's worth looking into. I mean, to be honest with you, my Kubernetes journey is very immature at the moment, so I need to spend a little bit more time learning that stuff. So that's cool to see. So there's more in preview features. Okay. Azure Cloud Services deployment model, new Azure Cloud Services deployment model now available. So I recall the Azure Cloud Services kind of being like a pseudo PaaS service where you could spin up sort of web roles and worker roles and things like that. What have they got here then? So it looks like Azure Cloud Services extended support is a new ARM-based deployment model for Azure Cloud Services. Okay. The Azure Service Manager-based deployment model is now named Azure Cloud Services Classic, so you can keep using that classic deployment model for your Azure Service Manager based applications. Okay, so it looks like they basically implemented a new version of Azure Cloud Services deployment model, which is more ARM based. So I'm guessing things like RBAC and the ARM principles basically for deployment. It'll be deployed using JSON templates. So that's cool. So if you are using Azure Cloud Services, it's good to see that they've basically updated the deployment model to be more ARM based. So cool. Take a look at that. Public preview announcing platform support migration of Azure Cloud Services Classic to Azure Resources Manager. Right. Okay. So it looks like it's just an extension to that. Oh, is that the same one? No, it's a different one. Okay. What is the difference here then? So it's just the migration. Okay. So they put public preview. If you want to migrate from the classic Azure Cloud Services into the ARM, then that is now in public preview. Cool. So if you are using, there we go. So it's basically the cloud services deployment model, the new cloud services deployment model has now gone GA. So now they put in the migration from the classic, obviously, into that new supported model. So if you are using cloud services, the classic cloud services, there is a migration path using that new model. Cool. And finally, continued region expansion. Azure Data Factory has just become generally available in 2 more regions. We've got it in Norway East and UAE North. Cool. Very good. Okie dokie. So yeah, like I say, I'm going to try my hardest. I always say it every week that I'm going to try my hardest to kind of keep these videos as short and sweet as possible, but it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Okay, let's jump back over. We're going to look at the Welsh Azure user group. So, as you may or may not already know, our next meetup is on the 15th of April, which is a week on, well, it's next Thursday, basically. Please do sign up, go and register. Follow us on Twitter. It's at Welsh Azure. And yeah, go and RSVP to that event. I mean, like I said before, we've got 3 great three great lightning talks going on from Anirban, Vukasin, and Matt. And then we've got our feature talk with Pete and Liam. So please do go and RSVP to that. It's next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. BST, so British summertime, standard time, summertime, whichever it is. That'd be cool. Be great to have you there. Also, merch. I had the pleasure in finally meeting in person Anna McNally, who obviously helps co-organise the Welsh user group with myself and a few others in the team. We had our merch, so huge thanks to Servant and Admiral, of course, for that. It's looking great. I think we've got a bunch of hoodies, a few t-shirts, and we've got some stickers on the go now. It's just great to see that we've got our own merch. So I think what we're going to do, obviously it's not an endless pile of merch. We've got a limited stock quantity. So I think we've had some general discussions. We're going to look at maybe offering a few of these as spot prizes at some of the meetups. So if you want to nab yourself a t-shirt or a hoodie, then RSVP to that event and get over and say hello to us all. That would be cool. Okay, let's move swiftly on. So we'll go on to the community call out as soon as I can get my buttons in order. So community call out this week, we're going to flick back over to the desktop. We're going to start off with big thanks to Sarah Lee and Techie Lass. Had a great catch up with her a little while back now. It's airing tonight, of course, on the Azure Live Twitch.tv channel. My latest episode of In Conversation With. And like I say, it's with Sarah Lee. We had some great fun. We talked about, what it's like to work as a cloud advocate, sort of upskilling and certification, and what the next areas of tech that Sarah was interested in learning and moving into. It was a great chat, and huge thanks to Sarah for joining me for that. If you can catch us tonight and join in with the chat, that would be absolutely superb. Obviously, if you can't, then you fully understand that, and there's the YouTube channel. You can catch up with it at a later date. Okay, next call out is to Mert Yetta. Mert has come over to the Azure Live Twitch stream, if I can say that correctly. great to see Mert there. I missed his first episode because I was on a work call, so I do have my excuses, but I will be watching this back. I think he had a great first session, from what I understand, with Rick van den Bosch, where they talked about serverless and Azure Functions. So go and give Mert some support. Go and jump over to the Azure Live channel, give that a watch back, drop your comments, message, and let Mert know what you think. But I think his show is called Mert to the Future, so stay tuned for that. And I believe it's every Thursday at around about 5 p.m. I may be wrong. Check that out. I think it's 5 p.m. But yeah, really great to obviously be associated with Mert in that way now as well. So big shout out to Mert, and obviously Rick for being the first guest on his new show. Go and check that out. It's been an action-packed week again for content, and I seem to be missing most of it because of work calls and other engagements that I've had going on this week. But I managed to catch literally about 10 minutes of this session last night, and I know it was being streamed out on YouTube, but I'm fully intending on going to watch this back now. It's something that I really would like to see and learn a bit more about. But I think Sarah Maston was on to talk about Project 15, and then the guys at IoT Knots had Alistair to talk about a Aribada initiative. So pretty cool things going on in the world of kind of IoT and that kind of an innovation space. I go and give this session a watch. I believe it is up on YouTube already, on Pete Gallagher's YouTube channel. Or go and follow them on Twitter, and I'm sure they'll put a notification out about that. But it's really cool. Some conservation projects using technology to kind of assist and help the world out, essentially from a conservation perspective. Using AI to help elephants, as you can see there in the description. So big shout out to IoT Knots, or Knots IoT. I didn't catch it completely last night, but I fully intend to watch that one back. Next call out. Yes. Had a great catch up with Andy and Dean last week. So they're setting up on their Get Modern, their Get Modern YouTube channel, which is all around sort of 365 and security. I had pleasure with speaking to the guys just on their first kind of as they're talking cloud session. So not sure when they're going to release that, but it was good fun. Go and give those guys a follow and a like, and obviously watch that when you get a chance. But thanks to the guys for inviting me on. It was good fun. And sticking with the theme of their channel, obviously they've got their first user group session starting up on the 13th of April, which is next Tuesday. If you go and follow either Dean _Ellaby, or the let me see, I'm not sure if they've got pretty sure they've got a cloud management user group Twitter handle, but anyway, if you go follow Dean, jump on, you've got the link there to the actual meetup event. Go on RSVP, go and show your support and jump on. I know they've got a pretty good interesting concept on what that first virtual meetup is going to look like. I know they're doing something slightly different, so I'm not going to spoil that. I'm going to let you guys go and register and go and have a look, see what you think. Join on Tuesday. There it is. So there's there. And who have they got on? They've got Fabian Vader of cloudbrothers.info talking about phasing out legacy authentication. And then they've got Richard Hibbard at Zimperium, who is going to talk about mobile threat defense, the defense for cloud managed devices. So they got some great things going on there. Okay, moving on. Okay, Izzy and Gregor, they are hosting. It looks pretty cool, actually. I think it's Intercept and Wordtel have come together with some of the Dutch sort of user group space and people out there, and they're putting together a free virtual event, which looks pretty cool. And obviously, Izzy and Gregor are hosting it. It's called Azure Live. If you go to azurelive.nl, you'll be taken over to this page. It's a free ticket, and I believe they've got some fantastic speakers on the go there. So that is on the 13th of April. But you can see there we got some, familiar faces in there. It's great to see so many fantastic people giving up their time to come and talk to everybody about them, particular subject areas. So go and get registered, azurelive.nl. That's pretty cool. Okay, yeah, Dwayne Natwick has got his back to school coming back to us in September, so he's got a call for speakers out at the moment. So let's just have a quick look. Oh, if I can type properly, maybe. Is that not? Oh, yeah, there's 3 T's in the HTTPS there, so be careful there. So Azure Back to School, it's an annual event, I think, that Dwayne puts on. I'm not sure if Dwayne does it with anybody else, but I think, yeah, it's pretty much Dwayne sorting this out. So throughout the month of September, everybody is kind of putting some, subjects together and some information together, whether it be, I believe, a blog or a video content or whatever it may be. So Dwayne is actively looking for speakers and content to be put out there. So yeah, go and give him a follow. Jump onto Azure Back to School. It's .github.io here, but I think he's got a vanity URL of azureback2school.tech. So go and jump on over to that, submit your session and get involved. Okay, so we don't want that one. Oh yeah, Azure Auto Manage. I picked this up actually because Pierre Roman had released this blog a couple of days back around Azure Auto Manage. So I would probably point people at this to go and have a look. He's done a video here with Dean Wells where they basically talk about the benefits and how to set some of this stuff up. So rather than going and individually sort of configuring, you spin up some infrastructure in Azure, you go and configure monitoring, backup, security center, all these kind of bits, which you can do, of course. You can go in and configure it on a piecemeal, case-by-case basis. But Auto Manage comes and fills a lot of these gaps in for you. So it's a pretty cool new feature. So go and take a look at that. It's pretty cool. If you look at the IT Ops Talk blog, or go and follow Pierre on Twitter, you can find the links to that. Go and have a little look. Okay, something slightly different but associated. We're moving into the bits that I've been working on slowly. But NvidiaGTC, their kind of global annual event, is kicking off next week from the 12th of April. Lots going on next week, as you can see. Pretty cool. Talking about all things AI and hardware accelerated sort of processing. There's some really intriguing, fascinating talks going on, all from things like using CUDA for sort of machine learning and recognition and things like that, through to actually, how these AI models work under the hood. You've got some brilliant speakers here, even down to in-camera visual effects and virtual production. So actually in the camera doing these kind of things as you're kind of recording whatever the content is that you're doing. So really quite an interesting session. I'm going to try and watch some of the actual sort of sessions on, because it looks very intriguing. It certainly links a lot to some of the stuff that I've been playing with lately. Okay, last one, call out. Huge thanks to Jared. Jared Shockley. I had a great catch up with him earlier on in the week, where we did a whole session on really streaming, live live streaming, YouTube video recording, the kit that you may or may not need, some hints and tips around cameras, monitors, lighting, microphones, all of that good stuff. Looked at the Stream Decks and what they're for, and we looked at OBS. It was quite a mammoth show. I think it came out at about an hour and a half, but it was good fun. So I've not got a date for that release yet, but stay tuned. Go and follow the YouTube channel. Get notified when that one comes out, because that was a really good fun. So thanks to Jared for that. Okay, and that's it for community callouts. So let's jump on over straight into what have I been up to this week. What have I been up to this week? It's been a hectic week. That's all I can say. But it's been a fun week at the same time. So let's just jump straight over to my desktop. The first thing I want to call out, as you may or may not have seen, the last couple of weeks I've been playing a lot with the NVIDIA, the Jetson Nano device, where I've been doing some inferencing, some video analytics, essentially on real-time video streams, and doing some object detection and analytics. So I've started to put a few blogs together on what it's all about. And this first blog that I put together is, this is my street essentially, is using CustomVision.ai to build your own custom model for recognizing objects. So you can see we've got little red boxes basically around every car in the street. I use this. I mean, this blog article talks you through how you can get set up with the CustomVision.ai space and workspace, how you can start to train your model, how you can get how you can capture multiple images from your video streams, because essentially, what it breaks down to is that you need multiple images. You can see there that I've got basically a folder full of images of my street. I didn't sit there and click buttons and click capture, or take pictures. I scripted that essentially. So in the blog article, there's a little bit of a script there that you can use using FFmpeg, which I've done another blog article on before, using it to kind of process RTSP streams and basically capture a section, go to sleep for 15 seconds, and then go and capture 2 images. So every 15 seconds, it's basically taking a capture. And what you can do is use those images then to upload into your CustomVision.ai. You can see I uploaded over 1,000 files there. In order to train an image, to get through to that trained stage, you need a minimum of 15 images per tag that you're going to use. I explain it all in this blog article. So if you're interested, go and have a little look, and you can see, how you mark up the images, how you add tags, whether it's a car or a van or anything else that you see that you want to mark up. And the purpose was that you can see I'm tagging images, and basically that picture at the top of the screen there, this car that it's recognized as 92.4%, I didn't actually tag that. I tagged a few of the other cars, but this is one that it's actually learned and understood that it is a car for itself. So that's the first thing I've been doing. Go and have a little read of that blog. It's quite a lengthy blog, but I find it quite an interesting one. And it finally gets to the point of you can export your trained model in whatever format it is to suit your particular project. So in my case, I exported as a Onyx and ONNX Windows ML file format. And that can be used on my Jetson Nano as a custom AI machine learned model. I also talk a little bit about the YOLO models, so go and check that out. And of course, there's a link to last week's weekly episode where I kind of talk through a lot of this in quite a lot of detail. So yeah, that's the first thing that I've been sort of going on with this week, is a bit more of the AI side. Okay, that's just an image showing the actual module building that up. So this all plays into the Azure IoT Edge devices. So I'm still studying to do my AZ220 exam at the moment. Been having a lot of fun with the Jetson Nano and provisioning IoT Edge devices. So I put out a few tweets this week about it, where essentially the IoT Edge device has got its own kind of container management system as part of the Edge Agent container that you go onto these devices. So it's pretty cool stuff, but I've been having a lot of fun with that. I've also, as part of it, set up a few different flavors of Linux, which has been great. Just been setting up a few different flavors purely just to have a bit of variety on as virtual machines within my main setup. And I'm using these as edge devices essentially. So I'm setting them up as edge devices, putting a little code, whether it's simulated code or whether there's actual code, such as a Jetson Nano that I'm using for sort of video analytics. It's really good fun. And you can obviously set these up then as IoT Edge devices and push data into your IoT Hub, and then onwards to other things like Power BI data set to kind of visualize some of that data, or time series insights or storage accounts, whatever it may be. There's lots that you can do with that. I created my first bicep piece of code this week. Again, based on the IoT Edge stuff that I was doing, I thought it'd be cool if I could kind of create it. So I just use that as an excuse to kind of look at the syntax of bicep. And it is very, very similar, as you'd imagine, to things like Terraform, where, you can declare parameters, variables, you can declare your resources and outputs. There's a few other keywords that you can use. But it's pretty cool to see. It's very similar to, as you'd imagine, to Terraform. But I mean, essentially, I was just having a little bit of a play, and through the case, I mean, I didn't necessarily need these 3 lines. I just used it to kind of see that you could use these keywords to create some parameters and variables. But you can see in a couple of lines of code, you've pretty much got a file that will then build and create your main.json ARM template that you can then deploy to Azure. So I had a bit of fun with that. Yeah, good stuff. Going to learn a little bit more, I think, as well. Yeah, big thanks to Mark Allen as well. Had a chat with him this week again. That'll go out in a couple of weeks' time. We talked everything serverless. It was a really insightful chat with Mark. I can't wait for that one to go out to you guys to have a watch that. But such a knowledgeable guy, really interesting. Gave me some food for thought in terms of the way of thinking from a cloud native or a serverless perspective. So can't wait for that one to go out. So stay tuned for that. And thanks to Mark as well for giving up his time and having a chat with me on that. It was really great. 3D printing. I managed to get a bit of 3D printing done this week. I mean, only, just to get something done. I had the yellow PLA on the printer for some reason. So I printed out an egg holder. Who doesn't want an egg holder? I've got one now. And that's it. So finally, just as a heads up, it is Friday. It is the day of my In Conversation With episode tonight at 6:30. And that is the 9th of April, 2021. If you're watching this after the event, check out the videos below. Check out the playlist for In Conversation With, and you'll see this one there. But if you can join us live at 6:30 BST tonight, join in the chat. That would be absolutely awesome. And that's it. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in again. Like I say, it's been a hectic week for me this week, but I still like doing these videos on a Friday. I get up extra early and get these recorded so that I can stream them out to you at lunchtime. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching, and thanks everybody for all your support. Until next week, I've been Jonnychipz, and this is Jonnychipz Weekly number 15. Bye for now.